You wrote the book, Love from the Vortex and Other Poems. How did you become a writer? And what was the inspiration, intention, and purpose of writing this book?
I've been writing probably since I was about 12 or 13, and specifically writing poetry. I remember being 15, and it really was a utility more than anything else, because I grew up in a home, my father was very violent, and writing the poetry allowed me to take on other characters, take on other voices. I also wrote short stories to write a different reality for myself, right? So I was very clear at a very young age that I was using my writing as a utility, and that was to dream a different way. And that has stayed with me through relationships, through my marriage. I write to free and heal myself. That's the opening quote of the book, because it is true. I write to understand myself, to make sense. And so that's how I've always used writing. And I never called myself a writer, and certainly didn't call myself a poet until 2018. And it wasn't that I needed an institution to sanction that for me, but when I was invited to write an inaugural poem for the new president of Teachers College, Columbia University, something that no one had ever done. This was something new. I didn't know what that meant. So I called on my, of course, poet ancestors. I looked at Maya Angelou and the poems that she wrote for Clinton, for Obama, and I waited for the inspiration. And that's when I knew that it was something different, right? Because not everyone was processing the world or waiting for inspiration. And I knew that that was something different. So I would have to say 2018 is when I officially called myself a poet. But I've been writing since I was 15, really writing all my life.
Yeah, I love writing, and I do connect writing to healing. It's so healing. Speaking of healing, what is healing to you? Do you believe in a destination, per se, being healed?
You know, I think destination in terms of the healing project that's before us. I think healing is ongoing. Right. As long as we're living and we're living with others, there's always the possibility of being hurt, of being harmed. I think we can self-harm as well. And so to answer the question, it is both and. I think that, and I have been healed. Like I think about these relationships in the book, very painful journey, but I have been healed, meaning I can speak to the person and know that I'm okay with them. I don't have any more anger. I don't have any of that. But healing is a continual process, because there might be something that might open up, or we say trigger something. And because I have learned how to treat myself, soothe myself, understand myself, I can deal with it. I still have this healing that I've experienced, but the wounds can sometimes be agitated.
My other question is about love. How many kinds of love have you come to live, experience, and understand?
I've come to understand self-love. I've come to understand, after losing children to 3 miscarriages and finally having a child, I've come to understand unconditional love. Truly, for another human being, that if I had to give my life, I can understand that I would find the courage to give it for my child. That was new for me. Yeah. And I only experienced that by becoming a mother. So I've learned that love. I've learned the love of sacrifice. My mom also lives with me, and so I have been taking care of her. I guess she's been taking care of me too for over 20 years. Wow. And so there's a love of sacrifice. But because of the self-love that I've learned, I've also learned that there are boundaries, and that there's a way to love boundaries. So I guess I'm talking about learning me, loving others, but also loving ideas and ways to increase my own self-love and to increase the love that I have for others. So the love, that's something that is, I'm still learning, that's ongoing. And most recently in my research, I'm investigating and learning this idea of critical love. Love that is attached to the freedom. I'm talking here in the political sense, when I talk to teachers, to free themselves of the stereotypes and the biases that they hold about their students and their communities. And then for them to be able to invite their students into a critical love, so that they too may be free of the biases and the stereotypes that the society holds about them. So this idea of critical, or the criticality of it, is connected to race, class, gender, all of these constructions that have been created by society that we often don't talk about. So taking that critical love, a critical view of what impacts love and how love needs to look in certain settings, in the case of schools, critical love is really important for me for that.
What do you think is the purpose of the human experience?
Perhaps to make our lives and the lives of others livable. How can we reach our fullest potential within this life? And how can I use my life to facilitate that for someone else? And how can I enjoy that journey as well, even through the pain and the discomfort and all that life offers and brings? I think it's really about being here to understand ourselves more, to have some sort of knowledge of the world around us, and to encourage others in the pursuit of their full humanity.